Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Jai Shri One Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Ram Ji. Krishna Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna. So it is truly our privilege, our honor, and our pleasure to have Prabhuji with us. His Grace Vamsivadan Prabhu. Basically, he is our teacher. He has really taught us Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Vaibhav. It means the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. He has been really teaching us over the last couple of years. And so what I would describe him as is like a miner. The gold mining, the mining experts, they go there and find the jewel, find the real gold. Right? So when Prabhuji, he really goes into the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and he finds those jewels, right? Not only in terms of the verses, but also the purports. What Prabhupada has given there, and how we can really apply it into ourselves, and how we can really understand it so nicely so that we can share also with others. So very, very much influenced, right, in terms of what Prabhuji has really given to us, and it's really a fortune to hear Prabhuji. We are very glad that all the devotees of this group, they are getting opportunity. Like you cannot believe today, Prabhuji is having 4 programs. And ACS is already given 2 programs, and evening is on program. In spite of that, he chose to come and spend some time with us. We are very grateful to him. So let's thank him and welcome him by loudly chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Thank you very much. I would request you to please silence your mobile. And we have also some time for Q&A. So if you have anything to ask, you can ask us.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodananda Braja Janaranjana Yashodananda Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Dira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodananda Braja Janaranjana Yashodananda Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. So we'll just recite prayers and then we begin our discourse. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhi येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvashe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vedanta Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So very warm welcome to all of you this afternoon. So we're very happy and grateful that all of you have kindly assembled over here to try to understand something about the Bhagavad Gita. And as I've learned, you have already been attending a few sessions since the past few months. And I'm sure that you have already gained some basic understanding of the philosophy and the application of Bhagavad Gita within our own practical lives. So also we would like to thank Sudev Gopal for kindly inviting us to render the service over here. So we have been requested to speak on a very important verse of the Bhagavad Gita, which very nicely encapsulates the basic philosophy as well as the practical application of the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And so we are going to discuss on the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. The 9th chapter is entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge. And we will discuss some important aspects of the second verse. So those of you who have the Bhagavad Gita, what's it always saying? This is 9th chapter, 2nd verse. So you can try to repeat after me. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyaksha Bhagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. Oh, the translation is: this knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. I would just like to read the first paragraph of the purport. This chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called the King of Education because it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies explained before. Among the principal philosophers in India are Gautama, Kanada, Kapila, Yajnavalkya, Shandilya, and Vaishwanara. And finally, there is Vyasadeva, the author of the Vedanta Sutra. So there is no dearth of knowledge in the field of philosophy or transcendental. Now, the Lord says that this 9th chapter is the king of all such knowledge, the essence of all knowledge that can be derived from the study of the Vedas and different kinds of philosophy. It is the most confidential because confidential or transcendent knowledge involves understanding the difference between soul and the body, and the king of all confidential knowledge culminates in devotional service. Okay. So, this verse is very beautifully describing what is this Bhagavad Gita all about. So we'll keep the session a little interactive, if you don't mind. So please don't feel shy to give some answers and have a discussion. So we don't want to have a one-way flow. So it's good to have a two-way flow. And so, as per your understanding, whatever you have understood, you can contribute, and then we will discuss. All right. So the first question that may arise is, why? Why are we here to study this Bhagavad Gita? Our lives have been going on pretty well, pretty cool, right? We have our jobs, our studies, our families, and life has been going on quite well. And bulky book, quite bulky, right? Bhagavad Gita. And most of us have studied enough of books in our school days, college days. So maybe some of you are wondering why another book to study, and what's the point in gaining all this knowledge? Okay, let's ask a question. Very simple question. Only to do. Suppose this room was totally dark, and you're waiting outside. The room is totally dark. You're waiting outside. You want to enter the room. What would happen? So you want to enter the room, it's pitch dark, pitch dark. And assume you don't have your mobile torch. That option is ruled out. So as you stand at the door, wanting to come in, what would be your thoughts and what would happen? Anyway. Okay, you would be scared. Why? Oh, you might trip on something. Okay, good answer. Anybody else? Yes? Fear. Fear of what? Fear of darkness. Okay, that could be a fear. Fear of darkness itself could be a fear. That's true. Any other question? Excuse me? Oh, you'll be in a confused state. Okay, you'll be confused whether to enter, not to enter. Okay. And suppose, taking into consideration that, okay, you anyways wanted to come in, so you just come in anyways, then what would happen? What's
Hit on some wall.
right? You may hit on the wall or, huh?
Fell down.
Or you may, yes, you trip on something, you may fall down, and so on and so forth, right? So basically, would it be a very pleasant experience entering a dark room? Yes? Oh, okay. Maybe it may not be. Okay. Huh? Uh, okay. The silence in the room. Okay, great. How would be the experience? Would it be a very pleasant experience entering into a very dark room? No, not very pleasant, right? Because, as you said, there's every possibility of tripping over something, hitting something, maybe injuring yourself, and things like that. And of course, worse still, if there happen to be some snakes or scorpions. And the worst, the least expected, if there were some ghosts. Not at all a pleasant experience. Quite a miserable one, and not a very pleasant one. On the other hand, if you had your mobile and you had the mobile torch and you put on the lights, then everything would be clear. And then maybe you could find the switches on the lights and fans. Then things would be better, right? That's exactly why we need knowledge. Knowledge is compared to the light. So when there is light and everything is clear, one can clearly make out what's where. There's a clear sense of discrimination. One clearly understands what is right, what is wrong. Then life becomes much more smooth. Then life becomes much more easy, rather than trying to grope about in a dark place without knowing what's where. And so, therefore, it's very important that we get the light of knowledge. And when we get the light of knowledge, then our path ahead as human beings in this dark world, basically the entire material world is dark actually. But then, if we have the light of knowledge, which is coming from the scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita, then we will be able to tread the path of human life in a very practical, smooth, and easygoing way. And that's the reason why it's important for us to get knowledge. And everyone wants knowledge, right? That's the purpose why everyone goes to schools, colleges, to get some knowledge so that one becomes clear about what is important in life. So, yes, in this world, in universities, colleges, there are so many branches of knowledge. Anybody knows how many branches of knowledge are there in a university? In any university of this world, how many branches of knowledge are there? Anybody has any idea? Rough figure? Oh, really? Infinity? Oh, that's amazing. So there are infinite departments in a university? Oh, okay. So you mean to say the knowledge is infinite, but in case, how many departments are there in a university? On an average. Okay, that's reasonable, I think. 25. So many departments, there could be history, geography, science, politics, what else? Commerce, Right, different streams of engineering, botany, biology, zoology, and so many logies, right? So many branches are there, so many branches of knowledge. All these different branches of knowledge that are there in the universities. So, how many branches of those knowledge talk about something else besides our bodies or plants' bodies or animals' bodies? Besides these bodies, is there any branch of knowledge that's talking about something besides the body? So, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, as we know that in 1965, to be precise, on the 13th of August, it was a Friday of 1965. He set out at the age of 69 years. He set out on a cargo ship called the Jaladuta. And after a 30-day voyage, on the 17th of September 1965, he landed at Boston in USA. And from that point onwards, he spread this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita throughout the world. So at Boston, when he was at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, so there were so many students and professors who had gathered to hear Srila Prabhupada talk. And over there, he asked them this question, that you have so many different branches of knowledge, but which branch is talking about the spirit soul, which is actually moving everything of this world? So, well, they didn't have an answer because most universities and colleges don't have such a branch of knowledge. But then the fact is that just like if there is a car or there's an aeroplane, so if there's a wonderful, these days they have this Airbus 320, 321, there's these huge airplanes. So the airplane is very wonderful, wonderfully air conditioned, all facilities are there in the airplane. And all the passengers are seated in the airplane. And everything is fine. What is everyone looking for? Who's everyone waiting for? Huh? Or is it possible to, without the pilot, okay, have a nice time with the plane? In the recent times, some planes got delayed by quite a good number of hours, you must have heard. And people got really wild because they were made to sit. At some airports, passengers were sitting on the tarmac. You heard that? For several hours, they were sitting on the tarmac. Why? Why couldn't one of them just take an airplane and there's so many airplanes parked over there, right? They could have taken one and reached the destination. Why they could not do that? So the pilot is really important, isn't it? So similarly, we may have these wonderful bodies, but then there is a pilot who is running this body. So what is more important, the body or the pilot who's running the body? What do you think? Good, both are important. But given a choice, who is more important? Because body without the pilot is called what? Dead body. How important is a dead body? So, in terms of relative importance, the pilot is definitely more important. So, we are spending so much time, so much energy, so many departments within the university simply to study what? The body, which is actually theirs. And where is the department to study the pilot who is running the body? That department is here. That is why Krishna is saying this is Raja Vidya. It is the king of all knowledge. Because the most important, vital aspect of this body is the pilot, the spirit soul that's running this body. Understanding that spirit soul is the most important aspect of knowledge. And therefore, Krishna says it is Raja. Raja means king. King occupies the most important position within the country, right? So therefore, this is called as the king of all knowledge, because this knowledge is talking about the most important ingredient, the most important aspect of not only this body that we have, but all the different bodies, whether they be bodies of insects or reptiles or fishes or birds or name it, or microorganisms, bacteria, viruses, and the entire universe. It is this Atma that is most important, most vital. And therefore, that knowledge is what Krishna is giving in the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, he calls it Rajavidya, the king of all knowledge, because it is most vital, most important. Then he says it is Rajaguhyam. It is most confidential. So why it is most confidential? What is meant by confidential? Confidential means what? Secret. Okay, yes, it is secret. So then somebody may say, what is secret about this knowledge? There are many Bhagavad Gitas in the world, correct? So many Bhagavad Gitas in the world. So many books of spirituality. So many philosophers, especially in India. Srila Prabhupada is naming a few. There's Patanjali, there is Kanad, Yajnavalkya. So many philosophers are there, especially within India. And so many branches of spirituality. But then, still, just like in a program like this, people have heard. In India, especially, everyone knows Bhagavad Gita. Yet, when we conduct a program like this, just like here, how many people are here approximately? Okay, let's say 50. And what's the population of Bangalore? What's the population of Bangalore? 150 lakhs. 150 lakhs. The 15 million. So what's the proportion? 50 and 150 lakhs. What's the proportion? What's that? Come on. Any mathematicians over here? Okay, he says it's 0.00, one more zero? Two zeros. 0.003% of the people are here. That's a big number, right? So minuscule, so small. That is why it is so confidential. because very few people are interested. And even when people do show interest and they come, then very few actually become very serious. We definitely hope that over here everyone is very serious. But then ultimately the proportion is very small. And therefore it is very confidential. The name Bhagavad Gita, throughout the world people know. Even outside India, everyone knows Bhagavad Gita. Yet those who show tangible interest in trying to understand Bhagavad Gita and its application, the number is very small. And what to speak of those who try to live by the knowledge of the Gita and practice spirituality within one's life to achieve the ultimate goal, the number is really very small. Therefore, it is very confidential. And definitely, we would like to congratulate all of you to be a part of the elect few. Yes. So you are clapping for yourselves. That's the fact. Very rare. And of course, Krishna himself says that in the Bhagavad Gita. In the 7th chapter, 3rd verse, Krishna says, Manushanam sahasreshu kashyadhyatati siddhaye yatadam api siddhanam kasyan mam veti tattvata Manushanam sahasreshu. One amongst thousands, Krishna says. And in one lecture on that verse, our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna said Manushanam sahasreshu, but now in the present age it has become Manushanam millionation. So rare. Therefore, Krishna says this is Rajaguyam, the most confidential knowledge. But yet, for those who systematically try to understand Bhagavad Gita, what is most confidential, what is the topmost secret amongst all secrets, becomes revealed to the sincere students of the Bhagavad Gita. So Rajvidyam, Rajaguyam, Pavitram. So this knowledge is most pure. Pavitrata. Just imagine if you were to enter this place and the organizers had, unfortunately, they had forgotten about the program. And just imagine a situation like that, where the organizers had forgotten that the program was there today at 12 o'clock. And all of a sudden, they woke up at 5 to 12 and they came rushing to this place. And the place was, all these things were scattered all around the place, dirty, messy, not cleaned. How many of you would like to enter such a place? Please raise your hands. If you would be very blissful to enter such an extremely untidy place. Anyone? How many of you are very happy now in this place which is spick and span? Please raise your hands if you're very happy with the nice arrangements. Good. Why? Because everything is neat and clean, isn't it? So everyone likes cleanliness. And even it's a common saying, even in the outside world, and I'm sure you must have heard it. What's that? Cleanliness? What? Yes, cleanliness is next to godliness. I'm sure you've heard that right from our school days, isn't it? Cleanliness is next to godliness. So everyone likes cleanliness. Most of modern day IT companies, hospitals, everyone makes the places very spick and span, clean, spotlessly clean, because people like clean places. So similarly, the Supreme Lord, He is 100% pure, 100% clean. He has no impurities. He has no impurities like the ones we all have. That is like lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, illusion. These are all various impurities within our consciousness, which actually are responsible for causing a lot of problems to ourselves and to others. And so these are impurities. And just like nobody likes an impure or a dirty place, so similarly, when there are impurities within our own consciousness, such impurities simply create problems for ourselves as well as for others. And of course, this is something which is common to every soul, including animals. They also have the same impurities. Just like envy. You know, envy, Irsha, Dvesh. You've heard, no? Envy. So, envy is there in humans, it is there in animals, it is there in everyone. You know, there was an advertisement many years back. These days, of course, we don't see it. You know, many years back, there was Onida television. And some of you seem to be familiar. So they had a famous one-liner for their advertisements. You know? Yes. Good. Neighbors envy, owners pride. So they're banking on envy for their advertisements. But then they know that yes, there is envy. If I get something wonderful, then some other person becomes envious. If some other person has something which I don't have, I become envious. So this is a part of the world. But it's not only among humans, it's there amongst everyone, including animals. And what happens when there's envy? So we'll tell you a short story. So once there was a dog. So the dog had got some food, and the dog was carrying the food within the mouth. And as the dog was carrying the food, he was walking, and there was a bridge on the way. So he climbed the bridge and he looked down. There was water below the bridge. So when he saw in the water, what did he see? Hmm? Yes, he saw his reflection. But after all, he's a dog. So what he thought? Yes, he thought there's another dog. And that dog also has got food. So he thought, why should he have that food? It is meant for me. That's envy, correct? So he said, how dare this dog has food? It's meant for me. And so he started barking, go, started barking. And as soon as he started barking, what happened? The food within his own mouth fell into the river. So he lost his own food. Neither did he get that food which was supposed to be in the other dog's mouth. So what's the moral of the story? So by envy, one loses even what oneself has. One tries to get what somebody else has, but in the process, one loses even what one oneself has. It's a problem, right? So these are impurities which simply cause trouble to oneself as well as others. And so therefore, as long as these impurities are within our consciousness, they're a cause of trouble. This is envy. Then there's anger. I'll tell you one real incident regarding anger. How anger can be so deadly, detrimental. A man had got a brand new car. And so he got this car, he was very happy, beautiful car. And he had a small child. Small children, they're sort of ignorant. They're innocent in their ignorance. So the small child was playing around the car and he picked up a small stone and he wrote something on the car. And so after some time, the father came, was very happy to see his brand new car, but then he saw something was written. The paint was scraped off. Brand new car, paint scraped off. And the man got so angry at a small child that he took a stick and he hit the hand of the child very hard. The small children, very delicate fingers. So the small child started crying and crying and crying. And the father tried to pacify him in so many ways, but he was still crying. So the father thought something is really seriously wrong. He took the child to the hospital. The orthopedic surgeon took an x-ray, and the orthopedic surgeon said that all these fingers have been fractured, multiple fractures of these fingers. The father is what to do. So the surgeon said, multiple fractures cannot be, like normal fractures, a bit of plaster and things like that. Nothing can be done because they're like small, small pieces of bones. So the surgeon said all these fingers will have to be amputated, cut. This is a real story. It's not a made up. Small child, he didn't understand anything. They took him to the operation theater. The operation was done. And when the child came back to consciousness, small child, he looked at his two hands. One hand has fingers, another hand does not have fingers. So he went to the father and he asked him, Papa, when the fingers of this hand will grow? So when the father heard this, he felt so bad. What have I done to my small child? So then the father got so angry, he thought, who's the cause for this? It is this car. So he was very angry on the car now. So in a fit of anger, he went to the car. And there, he happened to see what the child had actually written on the car. And the child had written, I love you, Dad. And when the father saw this, for writing this, for expressing his love for him, what have I done to my child? He was so frustrated and angry with himself, he committed suicide. True story. Amongst the millions of such stories. The result of anger. So these impurities within ourselves, they cause so much of damage. Damage to oneself and damage to others. Throughout the world these days we see so many wars, so much fighting. Sometimes within the families, neighbors and neighbors, members of the same society, brothers and brothers, communities and communities, countries and countries. fighting, so much of anger because of not having some possessions. And that's the reason why it's so very important for us individually and collectively to purify our consciousness of these various anarthas or impurities. And by doing so, we ourselves can experience blissful, peaceful lives, and that's what we can spread in society. And in the present age, the best way to purify ourselves of these various impurities is through the easy methods of chanting the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Simply by the chanting of these holy names, all these impurities that are accumulated within our consciousness can be cleansed and we can become pure and clean in order that we realize our true nature. The example is given that just like if there's a mirror, if the mirror is covered with dust and I look, can I see myself? No. Why? Because there's dust. So then I need to clean the mirror. Then I can see myself. So similarly, because of all these impurities, I cannot see myself. I cannot understand myself that I am what? Spirit soul. It's because of these impurities I cannot realize this. So by the chanting of the holy names, these impurities, the dust on the mirror of the mind is cleansed. And then I'll be able to recognize that I'm basically spirit soul having a relationship with the Supreme Lord, and my real duty is to serve the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord is 100% pure. And our ultimate destination goal is to approach Him. And so if I want to approach Him, the Supreme Pure, I also need to be pure. And the Bhagavad Gita and the scriptures are teaching us how, by the practice of devotional service, by chanting the holy names, by serving the Supreme Lord in different ways, one can purify oneself and ultimately achieve the Supreme Lord. The next thing he says is, Pavitram idam uttamam. Uttamam. So, as we were discussing right in the beginning, what would be the result of entering a dark place? So similarly, the material world is dark, tamas. Tamas, it's a dark place. So therefore, the Vedic injunction is tamasi mam jyotirgama. Don't be in darkness, come to light. And so that light, the light of knowledge, is obtained from the scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita. And therefore, by trying to understand the Bhagavad Gita, one will come out of darkness, one will come to light, and then one will see things in proper perspective. One will understand what is right, what is wrong, what is punya, what is pap, and what is the right thing to do, what is the wrong thing to do. Everything will become crystal clear, and then one will be able to lead a path which will take us to light, which will take us out of this darkness, and then we'll be able to experience true happiness. The next point he says is Pratyaksha Vagamam. Pratyaksha Vagamam. Akshar. Akshar means to see. To see. So in life, everyone wants to see things, perceive things, know things for oneself, isn't it? And talking about spirituality and God, whenever this topic is raised, people tend to ask, can you show me God? Correct? People want to see, experience for themselves. As it's also said, experience is the best teacher. So everyone wants to experience for themselves, understand for themselves, and then be convinced about it. So therefore, Krishna is saying over here that yes, the practice of spirituality, the practice of devotional service can be experienced by each one of us. It's not something which is sentimental. It's not something which is vague. It's not something which is only theoretical. As our founder Acharya very often said, that Krishna consciousness is a science. What's the meaning of science? I'm sure many of you have studied science. What's your understanding of science? Yes, good. It's something which can be experimented, proven. That's right. Someone wants to add to this. What is your understanding of science? Hmm? Systematic understanding. Okay, good. Whatever. Okay, it's something which is practical. Okay, there's theory, then there's practical. Okay, that's correct. What else? What's your understanding of science? Reaching to some logical conclusion based on the facts. Okay, good. That's good. Somebody wants to add something? Good. That's very good. Science is universally applicable, right? It's not contextual. It is universally applicable. Simple example. Hydrogen plus oxygen gives water. Is this applicable only in Bangalore? Huh? It's universal, correct? Hydrogen plus oxygen gives water. It's a universal truth, isn't it? It's whether it's America or Europe or India or Bangalore or Chennai, everywhere it's the same thing. 2 plus 2 equal to 4. Where is it applicable? Everywhere. That is science. So similarly, the practice of devotional service is a science. It is not something sentimental. It's a science because it's applicable for everyone at all places at all times. So the science is that I am spirit soul. That's the first understanding. So this is applicable for everyone in all places at all times. Whether one is Indian or European or American or African or Chinese or Russian, doesn't matter. Everyone, within every body, there is spirit soul. And that spirit soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Spirit, that's Krishna. And that is also a universal truth. And the way to establish our relationship with that Supreme Soul, Krishna, is the practice of devotional service. This is a science which is applicable everywhere. And by establishing our relationship with Krishna, we can find true happiness. The soul is looking for happiness, correct? If I ask you a question, how many of you have ever gone to a temple and prayed to the deity there that, my dear Lord, in my life there has been so much of happiness. I got a little frustrated about it. So please give me a little distress. Has anyone gone and prayed like that? Kindly raise hands. Somebody who's got oversaturated with happiness? No, it never happens, right? Oversaturated with happiness never happens. So everyone wants happiness, everyone wants satisfaction. Just the example is given that just like a fish, what is the most important thing for the fish to be happy? Water. Is there any point for argument and debate on that? No. It's a universal, well-known truth. that the fish requires water to be happy. So if the fish is out of water for even a moment, if the fish is out of water for even a moment, and one can give the fish the first class foodstuffs and jewelry and best video games, will the fish be happy? Even for a moment? No. Why? Fish requires water. How much time does it require water? Once a week? 24/7. Every minute, every second, the water is required. So similarly, our happiness is based upon our establishing our relationship with Krishna. That's our position. Just like the fish requires water, we as spirit souls require our relationship with our Supreme Father Krishna. And without that relationship, whatever we may try, just like that fish, how much ever one may try to keep the fish happy and satisfied, without that water, that fish is going to be what? Miserable. Miserable. 100% miserable. And the fish is going to be frantically looking for water. Similarly, in this world, everyone is frantically running here, there. Not only during the day, night, people are moving here, there, especially in cities like Bangalore. There's no day, no night. People are moving around. For what? For what? Looking for happiness, looking for satisfaction. But it is just like the fish out of water trying to find satisfaction to so many different ways and means. Is it going to be possible? Out of fish. Therefore, the only way the soul is going to be happy is by the practice of devotional service and re-establishing our relationship with the Supreme Lord. That devotional service to the Supreme Lord is very practical and can be practiced in 9 different ways. This is called as Navvida Bhakti. These 9 different ways are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. These are 9 processes of devotional service, 9 ways by which we can practice devotional service. So first is Shravanam. So Shravanam means hearing. So we all hear, right? So every child goes to school. Children go to school, correct? So in the school, what do you do? You study. Do you hear from your teacher? Yes. So that's the reason why you go, isn't it? To hear, not to sleep, correct? So everyone knows one gains knowledge through hearing. So that is called Shravanam. And then one speaks. That is called Kirtanam. So one can hear about Krishna, one can speak about Krishna. Similarly, whatever one hears and speaks, one remembers, so one can remember about Krishna. So in this way, there are these 9 different processes by which one can practice devotional service in a very practical way. Just like all of you are sitting here, and what are you doing? Hearing about spiritual subject matters. Similarly, what we are doing is we are speaking. So these are all different processes of devotional service. Then we can remember. Then we can write about Krishna. We can, just like all these books are there, so many articles are there. We can write about Krishna. We can see movies about Krishna. We can work for Krishna, right? We can paint for Krishna. So many activities are there. It's something very practical, which every one of us can participate in. And when we participate in these activities, then we can experience for ourselves that this is what is going to give me real happiness and satisfaction. And that is why we are here. So, some of us have been chanting these holy names for many, many years, the same holy names, right? The same Mahamantra. It's not that there's a new mantra released every day, or not even once a month, not even once a year. It's the same Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's the same Mahamantra which we have been chanting, and we're still chanting. Why? Because there is some experience. Unless there's some experience, will we continue an activity? Unless there's some good experience, will we continue any activity? So definitely we're experiencing something wonderful, some happiness, some satisfaction. That's why we're able to continue. But as it is said, the proof of the pudding is in the... You never heard this phrase? The proof of the pudding is in the eating. Okay, maybe it sounds a little bit westernized. Huh? Okay, we'll give you a little more down-to-earth example. So suppose if here gulab jamuns are famous, right? Oh, Mysore. Okay, Mysore is close by. That's it. So everyone here likes Mysore pak? Okay. Do you have it for prasad? So okay, suppose you didn't know. Just I know it's your favorite sweet, but just imagine for the time being that you didn't know what is Mysore pak. Okay. Suppose you didn't know what is Mysore pak, and I give you a 1 hour lecture on the glories of Mysore pak. And I tell you all the ingredients, the recipe, how to make it, and how thousands of people over the world have tasted it and benefited from it, and so on and so on. So after the 1 hour lecture, how many of you would say, oh, Mysore pak is very tasty? How many of you would say? Rather, what would you say after that? That would be what everyone would say. Where is it? Correct? That would be the important question, isn't it? Where is it? We want to taste it. And then after tasting it, then you will be convinced about the glories of Mysore. So similarly, we can tell so much about the wonderful glories of devotional service, as a result of which we are able to continue for quite a few years. But if you want to experience it, what do you have to do? Practice it. It's for each one of us to practice it and experience the wonderful effects of the practice of devotional service. And those effects can be experienced by each one of us, just like each one of us can eat that Mysore pak and experience the effects. So similarly, each one of us can practice this devotional service and experience the wonderful effects. And that is real dharma. The next word is pratyaksha bhagavamam dharmyam. That is real dharma. As our founder Acharya Sri Prabhupada would often explain, dharma does not simply mean religion. So religions, faiths can change, but dharma basically means the innate quality of a substance that does not change. That is the basic understanding of dharma. Just like, again, taking the same example of Mysore pak, because that's what you like, and hopefully by meditating on it, you can experience the sweetness. But the point is that just like the Mysore pak, so if tomorrow somebody serves you Mysore pak and that's so pungent, like chili, what would you say? What would you say? You said, this is not Mysore Pak. What is this? This is something else. It looks like that, but it is not that. Correct? Because there is an innate quality of that Mysore Pak which you're expecting. So similarly, every substance has an innate quality. The chili is pungent, the sugar is sweet, the salt is salty, everything has its innate quality. So similarly, we as spirit souls also have an innate quality, and that is to love and serve. That's our innate quality. Therefore, everyone in this world is loving someone, is serving someone, and that's natural. Can anyone over here say we are not loving and serving anyone? Can anyone say? No, everyone is loving and serving someone. That's natural. But all our different attempts to love and serve someone in this world very often become frustrated. But then, when those same tendencies to love and serve are employed for the Supreme Lord, which is natural for the soul, we can experience the ultimate happiness. And that's the next word, Susukam Kartum Avyayam. This process is a very happy one. It's a very happy one. So, just like here, what are we doing? We're only sitting, correct? We didn't tell you to do any asanas out here. We didn't tell you to stand on your head uh, and do some difficult asanas, nothing. Just sit. And if this asana, if this asana is difficult, then chairs are also available. So what's the difficulty? Just sit here, and after hearing there is prasad. Anyone has difficulty with prasad? So simple. What can be simpler than this? But what is the gain? The gain is ultimate. The gain is getting out of this material world which is filled with so many miseries. Miseries of the body and mind, miseries due to other living entities, miseries due to natural calamities, so many miseries all the time. That's the nature of this world. But by taking to this practice of devotional service, one can get out of this miserable world and go to the world where there are no more miseries. It's called Vaikuntha, that place where there are no more miseries, only happiness, unending happiness forever. That's the goal. That's the destination we can achieve simply by this process of devotional service. As Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the fourth chapter, ninth verse, Janma karma chame divyam evam yogati tatvataha tyatma deha punar janmanaiti mameti. So Arjuna, anyone who understands about my birth and transcendental birth and activities will, upon quitting this body, go achieve me, will come back to me, and will not have to come back again to this miserable material worlds. So, how many of you want to go back to the spiritual world where no more miseries, only happiness? How many want to go? Process is very simple. Simply come, regularly chant the holy names. Lord has given us a tongue, ears. That's all. I don't think so. There's any payment here, right? No. It's free of cost. We're not charging anything for mantra. The mantra is being freely distributed. Simply chant, simply hear about Krishna, his wonderful activities, hear Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and enjoy Krishna Prasadam. And we can dance our way back home, back to Godhead. That's what the Bhagavad Gita is offering. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. You have time for questions?
What is the main purpose of God creating humans, Prabhuji?
The main purpose is so that we can take part in his wonderful activities, and by that he also enjoys and we also enjoy. Just like you see in this world, many people create different societies, right? Here in Bangalore, is there some Kannada association or something like that? Yes. So the gentleman there is affirming that there is some Kannada association. So people form some Kannada association, then the doctors form their own association, medical association, engineers form their own association, businessmen form their own association, and so many different sects of people, they form their own associations. Why do they form these associations? What do you think? Why they form these different associations? Okay, to help their own communities and to relate to each other and come together, their get-togethers, their parties, and they enjoy, right? The main purpose is enjoyment. That's the main purpose. Because if a person is alone, think about it. If we would say, we'll give you one room, first class air conditioning, first class foodstuffs, whatever you want, we will provide. Only condition is remain alone. Would you accept? Would anyone accept? Maybe few days, 3 days, 4 days, 1 week. After that, you live miserable, right? Why? We require association. So therefore, the Lord, in his different ways of enjoyments, so he wants to enjoy with his devotees. We are all originally and now potentially devotees of the Lord, meant to assist the Lord in his activities and thereby give enjoyment to him and in turn experience enjoyment. This is the purpose. And so therefore, when we participate in the Lord's activities and serve him, participating in his activities means doing various services for him, pleasing him, satisfying him, then he's satisfied. When he is satisfied, we also become satisfied. This exchange of love and satisfaction between us, the jivas, the spirit souls, and the Supreme Lord is the purpose of the creation. All right? All right. Anybody else? Okay, yes.
Prabhuji, thank you for this wonderful session. My question is because as you told, God has created humans to be associated with God Himself. Now I am a little bit confused. I was trying to go to goal of life because of with spiritual activity and everything. So what is the connection between the human and related with God and going to Gola? So what is the difference between these two? Means it's suffering in this world, but still if you connected with God, our suffering is less and trying to connect to Him in that itself. So why someone will try so hard to go to Gola?
So, as I understand your question, basically you're trying to ask that why should we practice this devotional service to go back to the kingdom of God? That's your basic question, right? So, the basic reason is, as we were saying, that just like if a person does not obey the laws of the state, the laws of government, what happens? Give the mind.
Will be punished by the Lord.
Yes, exactly. So, is punishment pleasurable or miserable?
Miserable. Right.
So, in our present state, we have given up our relationship with the Lord. We have forgotten that relationship, which we are supposed to be having. And so, because we have forgotten that relationship, given up that relationship, it is like disobeying the laws of government. And so, therefore, we have been sent into this world, which is like a prison. And prison means punishment. Punishment means suffering. That is exactly what we are undergoing now, so that we realize this fact that actually I don't want the suffering. I want to get out of this suffering. And so, in order for us to come to that inquiry, how can I get out of this suffering? That is why this world has been created, whereby I can be reformed, I can be rectified. And then, when I understand that my main business is to practice devotional service, and when I do that, then even while remaining in this world, my suffering will reduce and I can experience real happiness. Just like we are not in the jail, correct? We are outside the jail. And so, because we are outside the jail, there's no punishment, there's no suffering, right? So, similarly, when we practice devotional service and re-establish our relationship with God, then we won't experience the suffering even while remaining in this world. And at the end of this life, we can go back to our original home where we can always be there with the Lord and participate in His activity. Does it help? Thank you.
Prabhuji, one more question. When spiritual sadhaks, they tell that they can see God with their sadhanas, with taking name of only God. So, does it really happen or going to the Golok only they can associate with God?
No, actually, we can see God in any of our temples. You've been to some of our temples?
Yes.
So you see God there, right? We can see God now also.
But realization of God, seeing God and realizing Him, that is a different thing. I don't know how to put this question.
Okay, I understand your question. So, yes, actually, the murti or the vigraha that we see in the temples is actually God Himself. The only thing is we don't have that full appreciation or realization, as you say, of that fact. But actually, that's the facts that the murti is non-different from God Himself. But in any case, why we are not able to appreciate that, as we were discussing, is because of the various impurities. Because of the various impurities within our consciousness, just like we were saying, the dust on the mirror, because of the dust, we are not able to see. So, similarly, because of the impurities within our consciousness, we are not able to appreciate God or we're not able to realize God. And so, therefore, the main purpose of our spiritual sadhana or our discipline is to purify our consciousness. And when we get purified, when the dust is removed, then we'll be able to see things as. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Like we are interested in devotional services and practice the spiritual ways. But however, we will have to look into our old parents, take care of our children, think about how to expand our businesses, learn technical skills. Just now we have discussed that 24/7 we will to be devotional. But this time, how to discuss and managing what is required for us to go.
Good, very nice practical question. So, so how do we manage all our other responsibilities towards our family, our parents, our business, and so on and so forth, along with the practice of devotional service? So, in devotional service, we don't have to leave anything or cut off anything. We simply have to add something. So, we are not saying that just like Arjuna. So Arjuna, after hearing the battlefield, after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, did he leave the battlefield? No, he didn't leave the battlefield. Rather, with great enthusiasm, he fought. He didn't leave. That is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not teaching us to give up our duties. Bhagavad Gita is teaching us to add the Supreme Law, to add Krishna in all our duties. So, we perform all those activities with the purpose of satisfying Krishna. For example, we can do the business with the purpose that with the business I earn money so that I can use it for satisfying Krishna. Because who gives the money? I can do business. Is the money that is going to come in my hands? What do you think? Maybe if you don't have an experience of business, we'll give you another example. Just like you study, right? So if you study for your exams, and then after studying, you go to write your exam, does it ever happen that you forget what you've studied? Does it happen? So we can study, but what I write in the exam, is it in my control or somebody else's control? What do you say? Yes, somebody else's control. I can perform my duty, but the result of that duty is not in my hands. In this world, everyone is working hard to become Tata Birla. Correct? Right from the coolie or the one who is pulling the rickshaw to the big businessman, everyone is working hard to become rich. Does everyone become rich? Does everyone become rich? That means what? Somebody else is in control. So having understood that the results of my activities are not in my hands, somebody else is giving those results. And that is the Supreme Lord who is the Supreme Control. So because he is giving those results, then it becomes my duty to give a share of those results to the Supreme. So that is how I can do my business for Krishna. I can study for Krishna. I can go to the market for Krishna. Everything I can do in relationship with Krishna. So we don't have to stop anything. We simply have to add Krishna into whatever we are doing. Is that a comment or a question?
I just wanted to add a point for his first question.
Okay, please go ahead.
May I?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Correct. So, Prabhuji said, between this world and Golok, that was his question. So, I was just thinking, actually, in Golok, the mood is selfless love and uninterrupted service. Now, to go to that place, we should have that kind of a mood, mindset, and all. See, even when somebody is going from this Earth planet to some other planet, they are put in a simulation to get used to that environment.
It's not like we catch a flight from Bangalore to Bombay, anybody can go. So they are putting vigorous training, that heart beat and breathing techniques and floating techniques, so many things. So likewise, one should acquire that qualities of selfless love and service, which can be practiced through this devotional service here, taught by Prabhupada. And once we reach that, then automatically when we go there, we will not be out of the group. This is my thought. Yes, yes, good. Thank you. Thank you for this point. So this is training session. Apprentice. This training session, so that we get, as Prabhu said, we get acclimatized to that atmosphere and the way of dealing and working and everything. Fine, I think so. Once again, thank you all very much for your kind presence and participation in today's session. And we look forward to meeting you again. And we also hope and pray that you continue to come to these wonderful sessions here and continue your practices of spirituality and experience the wonderful happiness and the gifts that the Bhagavad Gita has to offer in our wonderful journey of life. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, so I was requesting that we have a few minutes Kirtan. Okay, good.
Prabhuji said that today's theme was Susukham Kartam Abhyayam.
Yes.
This process is joyful. Yes, we said, we heard it, now you have to realize it. That's how it is joyful, how it experience. So let's thank Prabhuji once again by loudly chanting Hari Om 3 times. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. So I would request all of you to please hear this lecture again. So this has been recorded. How Prabhuji explained each of the words so wonderfully, so beautifully, and how we can really apply these principles in our life. Thank you. So let's quick Kirtan and then we'll go for Prasada. Anybody's here for the first time today? Anybody's here for the first time today? You have come? Okay, so we have some gift for you. Okay, so please come and collect. Yes. Anybody else is here for the first time? Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much. And now we have Kirtan.
You can come here. So, where do we face? We face them? We face them?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Proper pranam mantra then. Okay, let's start with Jai Shri Krishna. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। थैंक यू वेरी मच। हरे कृष्ण।